Morning, guys. Big Man Comics. I'm here. Big Man Comics Live. I'm here. Gabe, your host. I missed the show Thursday and Friday, but don't worry about it. I didn't feel good. I never get thank God, I don't get colds and flu and all that. The last time I had something like that was 4 years ago. I got food poisoning Wednesday night after Double Impact. I don't know what happened. We had a fun show Wednesday night, and then I was laying in bed, and then like 11:30 midnight, stomach just started boiling. And I was in bed, obviously Wednesday night and then until basically Thursday evening. I felt fine Thursday at 6 or 7 p.m. So it was almost 24 hours, felt horrible. Then Friday, woke up late just because, I got so behind and I slept all weird and my back hurt so badly from laying in bed too long, from being in bed for like 20 hours or whatever. So hello from Indiana. Glad you went. Yeah, I think it was a cheese stick from 7-Eleven. And it's funny because on Wednesday night, I was talking to Jericho, and at one moment during the show, I said, is there anything better than getting junk food from 7-Eleven once in a while? I don't eat junky food. I eat really healthy. I try to. Lost a lot of weight. If you saw me online 3 years ago when I started doing YouTube regularly, I was like 305 pounds or whatever. I'm like down to, I was in the 250s when I weighed myself the other day. And on Wednesday, my wife and I ate the exact same things all day, except I went to 7-Eleven to get like a sugar-free Gatorade. And I was like, what the hell? I'll get a cheese stick. So that's the only thing I ate that she didn't eat. And boy, that did not feel good. That wasn't fun. So it was, some diarrhea, some throwing up, all that stuff for like almost 24 hours. But and that just set me behind. That's why there was nothing Thursday, nothing Friday. But I stand by 7-Eleven. I stand by it. I stand by it, and I will. I'll hold on. Let me change the camera. Yeah, I stand by it, and I will continue to be a customer of 7-Eleven. Let me change something weird happened too on my software that I use to do the streams. See how I'm flipping this right now? Everything was upside down and backwards, and I changed nothing. So I flipped it 180 and flipped it horizontal just now. But yeah, all my stuff there was upside down and backwards. I don't get that at all. This is page 68 of the Unstoppable Tyrus, but because I took that time off, it should be by 70. Everyone likes those milestone numbers, right? And, I wish I was there, but we'll just have to get there. We'll just have to get to 70. So I'll get to 70 by Wednesday. But how is everyone? Did you have a good weekend? I had a great Southern California weekend. I went back to San Juan Capistrano because it was so great last week. I went again this weekend. Went back to that same restaurant too. Just had the most unbelievable French dip sandwich I've ever had. It was delicioso. So if you're a fan of juicy roasted beef with the cup of au jus, I think the French dip is really underrated. Everyone likes them, but they don't get all the publicity that pizza does, that other things that everyone loves gets. There are things that are much more common, hot wings and this. I would take a French dip 9 days out of 10 over hot wings, which I love. The reason I mentioned hot wings just because how popular. I think my favorite food forever. I would tell everyone is just pizza. Just excellent pizza is the best. But I think that has shifted. I think I might like authentic Mexican street tacos better than pizza. I think, but damn, when I think about good pizza, it's hard to beat. I don't know. Someone got a 7-Eleven DoorDash to my apartment complex last week. It was on the steps when I left for work at 6:45. It was still there when I came home at 3:30. There was milk in the bag. LOL. Well, there was not milk in the bag, Kara. There's now cottage cheese in the bag. And you leave at 6:45 for work? Goodness. What do you do? Make donuts? No, you said you were a teacher of some sort. Yeah, I guess. I don't understand the whole thing with the school being so early. Kids aren't effective that early. They're half asleep. The thing about getting up early, I've always rolled my eyes at it. There's a kind of person that they base their entire personality. I get up at 5 a.m. You guys are all lazy pieces of shit. Then you see this person at 6:43 in the afternoon and they're calling it a day. And I have news for you, 5 a.m. people. You don't sleep less than others. Other people aren't more lazy than you. You sleep the exact same amount of time. You're just doing it at a different time. You're not better. You're not more moral. You're not more disciplined. Frankly, and I'm talking about the hard asses that make their personality about how great they are for getting up at 5. Not people that have to, working class people, they have to. They don't own the factory and it opens when it opens. But I do realize like this whole thing about making people get up at these super unnatural times, it's made up. It's arbitrary. It's probably mostly to benefit the elites that own the factory or whatever institution is making everyone get up so early. And I don't get up late. I don't believe in that. I get around 7:30 or 8. I'm awake. But I take it easy. I told you, Cadillacing in the morning, taking it nice and slow, having that coffee, reading the news like a civilized human being, like we used to in the old days before they trick everyone that you have to be scurrying and running around because you are nothing more than a peasant. And if you object, your masters will, castigate you, punish you, fire you. But all you work heroes that are getting up at 5 a.m. and shaming everyone else from daring to sleep until 7:30, you're being duped, man. You don't have to do stuff like that. Now, if you like it, whatever. It's funny. I'm both ways. I love the night, staying up, most artists do, but I love the morning. Now, as I've aged and matured, I do like the morning better. When you're younger, and this is everyone. I don't think this is an artist thing. I think this is an everyone thing, but it is endemic to artists to stay up very late for whatever reason. I no longer do that. Um, but I do like, I don't want to go to bed early, but I also want to get up early-ish and have a day because the morning is great. The morning is peaceful and amazing and stuff like that. But the whole do you pencil anymore? Just go straight to inking. Oh, there's pencils under here. It's a software I'm using to connect the iPad to the computer. It's not coming through. It's making it a lot whiter on your end. It's a lot brighter. There's pencils on here that I can see. If I zoom in, can you see it? Maybe I can adjust this. Hold on. I'll adjust it back to how it is. See, there's some pencils here. You can't see them now. I can see them clearly now. But because we're going through software on the internet and all that, they're disappearing for you. But they're here. They're here. I wouldn't do something this clean freehanded. If I was doing it just or without the guideline of pencil, I would do something much looser. You know what I mean? There's Carl Krupinski and rest in peace, the great Kim Jong-ji. They did really finished. Well, Carl Krupinski's still alive. Kim Jong-ji, rest in peace. They really mastered the technique of just going right off the top of their head, right into basically finished work. It's really astounding stuff, and it's a whole technique you can learn. People think it's, oh, he just does that, and not to discredit them at all. The amount of training it takes to master that sort of concept is astounding. The first time I saw it, I couldn't understand it. Go check out some videos of Kim Jong-ji illustrating. And yeah, we lost one of the greats, man. And he was only like in his 40s. He didn't speak a word of English, I don't think. I mean, probably spoke a word of it, but you know what I mean. I met him at Comic-Con about 3 or 4 times. And he would always have a different art book of all his sketches and illustrations. And I have them. They're treasures to me. And, with his passing, that was super sad. He was such a, you're the man when professional world-class illustrators working for the biggest companies on the biggest projects like I have and do revere you. Like, to get me and my colleagues to revere you, you are the man. And that's how Kim Jong-ji, guys like him are. We're all like, oh, we're pros. We work Marvel, DC, Star Wars, all the independent stuff I do. We're big shots, right? We're big time world-class artists. And then we're all like, Kim Jong-ji, he's amazing. And that's the kind of guy he was artistically. Did not know him personally whatsoever. But some people I do know personally were friends with him. They said he was a great dude. Very sad. I think he had a heart attack or something 2-3 years ago. Not old, only 45, 50 years old. Not old or anything like that. So rest in peace. One of the legends. Gone way too soon. Very sad. Let's see. Kara says she's a substitute teacher. I was kidding that she made donuts because she got up so early. Mighty Geek Studios. What's new, Gabe? Do you pencil anymore? You already asked him. Asked and answered, counselor. GTOberfest. Okay, because it was crazy to see you just inking away. Very few people could do that. Yeah, well, anyone can learn to do it. You're right. Very few can do it, but anyone can learn to do it. And I'm not taking anything away from a Carl Krupinski or a Kim Jong-ji. But all of this is a learnable skill. Is there talent that will give people an edge? Absolutely. like I always say, just like being naturally tall, which is not a skill, tall is just an inborn characteristic, that'll make you better at basketball than others more easily. But shorter people can get good at basketball, even to a professional level. It's much harder, but possible. And when you want something in life, don't ask yourself if it's hard. Ask yourself if it's possible. Because if you want it enough, it shouldn't matter to you how hard it is, you know. So if you really want something, you can have it. Yes, there will be people who are born with advantages because none of us are the same. Some people are born rich. That'll give them an advantage. Some people are born with better, height, let's say for sports, better strength. They just got more spring in their muscles and joints. They can move better, more naturally. Who cares? Who cares? When you are assessing what you want to do in life, what you are capable of, and what you think you deserve, just ask yourself, does this violate the laws of physics for me to do what I want to do? If the answer is no, it doesn't violate the laws of physics, then have at it. Go for it. And just ignore the haters and the doubters. Let's talk about haters and doubters. Just like Donald Trump talks about all the losers. Haters and doubters, that is a personal thing for them, and it has nothing to do with you. So do not be offended. You can laugh at them. The more charitable, the more Christian thing to do would just be to pity them and feel sorry for them. And where the hating and the doubting is coming from is it's a projection of their own insecurity, envy, and resentment. When you see a winner, when you see a big success, you want that. It's natural to want good, nice things. And bad people, when they see a good thing, selfish, immature, bad people, they'll be like, oh, that should be mine. He doesn't deserve that. Why does he have that? Smart people will be like, oh, how does he do that? I can figure out how to do that too. That's why I was telling you about Kim Jong-gi and stuff like that. You can figure out how to do it. You don't have to be like, well, he's just super talented, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he is super talented. So what? You can approximate it through practice. Won't be the same. Might not ever be as good. But if you practice something forever, you can't not be good at it. So what if you're not as good as the greatest in the world? That's all you'll settle for? That's how entitled and arrogant you are. It must be the greatest in the world, or take it away from me. You don't want it if you're not. Think about that. Like, just be grateful for what you have instead of like being upset about what you don't have. Right. So that's what you need to ask yourself when you want something, when you're going for something. Ask yourself quite literally, in a literal sense. Ask yourself, does this violate the laws of physics for me to become a great illustrator? It does not violate the laws of physics. Therefore, it is possible. Now, you have to ask yourself, is it necessary? Is it practical? Is there enough time in my life? And I'll tell you the answer to that is yes. If you want it, you're only living once, and then you're gone forever. As far as we have seen, no one has come back and got a second shot at this. So you got to ask yourself, am I going to give myself the life I want? Because it's nobody's job to give you your life. One problem so many people make is they wait for permission. They're like, well, I want to be a writer, so I want to get hired by a movie, TV, whatever, studio, magazine, book publisher. When they give me my book publishing contract, then I'm a writer. And like, that's bullshit. You're a writer the minute you decide. Nobody decides for you. And especially, there's no excuse now with the internet. Publish yourself there. Oh, but there'll only be a few readers. Who cares? It's yours and it's on your terms. That's better than anything in the universe. And I will tell you that not as a theory, but as a fact, because I worked at the highest levels at Disney, Warner Brothers, everything you can think of. I've worked on it, right? Everything but Ninja Turtles, which was my favorite, one of my favorite things. But I've worked on everything else: G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, you name it. I've worked on countless things, tons of things I wasn't even interested in, but they ended up being awesome. Like I have no interest in like video game, like a Warcraft, like blech, hate stuff like that. And I worked on that comic book, and it was a fun experience. And yeah, I've worked on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of famous IPs. And those didn't validate me as an artist. I validate those things with my quality of my art. They don't validate me. I don't look at it the other way. I don't look at it from the like servant peasant kind of mentality, like, oh, yes, please. I look at it like, you're lucky to have me here, and not in an arrogant way, but in a, I'm not going to be their footstool. I'm not going to be talked down to. Like, it is a mutual thing. So I'll tell you, if you wait for permission, you might wait your whole life, because it doesn't even matter if you're good enough. If the circumstances aren't right, it's not going to work out. If the people doing the hiring don't like you, you're not getting hired. If they're bigoted against you, like, and you know, there's in entertainment, there's a ton of bigotry against conservatives to this very day. And if the word gets out, you voted Trump, or have looked at a firearm in your life, they might never hire you. And then you're waiting for permission, and it's like, permission from who? Other imperfect human beings? Why do they have say so on who and what you are? Like, that's absurd to me. So I don't go for that. I don't play that kind of stuff. So you just got to make yourself what you want to be, and it is just as legitimate, because that's one of the mind traps, to make up a phrase. That's one of the traps people fall into. It's like, well, it isn't real until Disney says it's real. Well, who was Disney before they were Disney? They were nothing. It was Roy and Walt Disney started that, in a little, was it a little shack or a garage or a barn, like just the two of them. And then they started hiring a couple people and this and that. So it was a thing they just made it. They just made Disney, right? And we won't talk about what Disney is now. Ooh, boy. But the concept, I use Disney as the gold standard because, they did it and they had bigger success than anyone. Now, the current state they're in is bad. We'll just put it that way. All kinds of words were flying through my head. They're in a horrible state, Disney, and they deserve it as a company. They don't get it, or they get it. They do get it, but whatever. They want to do this Snow White thing. But yeah, you want to be a writer, you want to be this, you want to be that. Okay, get to work, because that's what this is work. And it's a lot of work, and it's hours per day, and it's many days per week. Not, at least, 6 is what I do. And it's a lot of work. It's not a lot of glamour. It's not a lot of glitz. It's not I'm this big red carpet, this guy, that guy. It's a lot of work. And once you do the work, that's all it is work. That's all you have to do to be this, is work. You don't have to do anything else. You do the work, and then, God has blessed you to be born into the age where your ancestors made this thing called the internet now. So the playing field is flattened. You can become rich, famous, and successful, and those things are important. Don't let the narrative of the powers that be tell you that making money doing this is somehow wrong or whatever. Loving money more than people is evil, right? The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money, the love of money. That's the operative word in that sentence. But you have to have money to do this full time. It's not cheap. I hire artists and stuff to help me with different things. I'm looking at some really big stuff. Like, I wish I could tell you about the email I was writing last night to this guy. And if it comes through, you'll hear about it, and we'll see. But it takes money to do these things. I want to hire animators and artists and illustrators, colorists, different people. That takes money. You're not going to get quality for cheap. So yes, the money is very important. Now, the love of money is what's wrong, but money itself, no, of course, it's a useful tool. What program do you use for digital inking? Procreate. It's $10 on the iPad, and I use an iPad. Don't use anything else. Don't listen to anyone. Listen, I've been doing this long enough, a quarter century, and people, I don't know what this is. There's like fanboys for consoles like PlayStation, Xbox. There's a similar thing in this world of Mac versus PC. Don't take anyone serious that's using a PC to make digital art. Just don't take them serious. I don't know what their deal is. I don't know what they're thinking. They're largely the same, sure, in a lot of ways. But here's the thing I know where someone's being a smart, effective person in their business approach. You got to remember, this is a business first. Don't be artsy and narcissistic and go, it's art first, then it's business. There is no art without the business. No one's going to let you just do this for free and never pay your bills. So it's a business first. Could you make this same art on PC and Windows stuff? Of course you could. But that stuff breaks down a lot more often, needs a lot more upkeep, constant updates. I can buy a Mac and have it for 7 or 8 years and do nothing to it. Not even update the operating system. And it'll just work. Every morning when I have my coffee, I turn on this little iPad on my kitchen table and I watch like the news. I like Scott Adams, have my coffee, have a little breakfast. That iPad's like 7 or 8 years old. I don't update it. I don't do anything to it. And I've been using Apple products for like 25 years and they're just that good. So you can get the same results with IBM stuff mostly, but they don't have this. They don't have anything like the iPad and the pencil. They don't have anything that comes close to the quality that this of the quality of line that this thing makes. They just don't. That I know for a fact. But if you want the IBM stuff, then that tells me you're not thinking that, oh, my time's important. Because if you want to be stopping to update your Windows machine and buy a new graphics card and do this and do that and do the other, that tells me you're not doing business correctly. You're not thinking like a businessman. That's great. Oh, I can modify this and, oh, you can't play games on a Mac. Why are you playing games? You're an adult. Why are you doing that? Play a game for 5 minutes on your phone. You don't need to be a gamer if you're going to be doing this. Like, what are you talking about? So, yeah, the Mac stuff, that's what you need. It is more expensive, but it's way better. It doesn't break. It's not a fake thing. It's true. Macintosh stuff doesn't break. I've had Mac stuff for 24 years now. It was either 2000 or 2001. So either 24, 25 years I've had Mac stuff. I had one hard drive on my second computer. I've had 4 of them now. One hard drive failed on my, and that's the hard drive. And that's not even from Apple. That's from Western Digital, right? So that's it. That's the only problem I've ever had with a computer. Nothing else has ever happened. And that's the experience from people using Mac stuff all the time. So yeah, you can get a lot of the same results. You cannot find anything like the Apple Pencil on the market. Even Wacom, this pencil here, I'm tapping a screen that you can't see because the camera's going this way. There's a big screen. There's those screens you see people draw on. They're called Wacom. That's my desktop. So my desktop computer is right there in front of me. And then the screen is here, the camera's there. But I have an iPad right here connected to it. There's nothing that draws better than this iPad. And you got these big screens here, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and the iPad just blows it away. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. And if you want to, but I would tell you this, if you're starting out as an artist, not as a professional, but like you're learning to be an artist, draw on paper with pen and ink first, like mostly, like learn to do that. Learn the digital. It's part of the world of an artist now, but learn to really draw, like I did and I still do. I prefer it that way. And I still do stuff on paper and all that. This is for sake of schedule, doing the Tyrus thing here. You need to learn the stuff in the real world with pencil and ink and all that, because it'll give you an understanding that isn't there digitally. Because the digital is skipping some things. It's skipping some stuff that you won't understand unless you do it. Okay? There's an understanding in life called technical knowledge versus epistemological knowledge. Epistemological is like book learning. There's technical knowledge. You only get it from doing things. Only from doing things. Okay. And there's things about art, sculpture, painting, paintbrushes. You're only going to get it when you do it. You're like, oh, that's how my hand feels when I do this. That's how my fingers feel when I do this. This is why the paint does this when I do that. Because the iPad and all, they mimic those things. So you're getting a lot of what, but you're not getting a lot of why. The difference between what and why, right? So the iPad just does this stuff with ink, right? Just does these things. Now I understand why it's doing what it's doing because of decades of real pen and real paper. But if you just jump into the punchline and you're right there with this thing able to mimic the concept of what a paintbrush or watercolor or ink can do, you don't really understand how to apply it correctly because you don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that correctly. So always learn analog as much as you can, and then you enhance your work with the digital. Because the only thing the digital is doing, it's not drawing for me. I have to know how to draw to use this. It's not going to draw for you. But it is going to just do the ink properly. You're not going to, like if you're using a real pen, maybe the pen will start leaking. Maybe the line will get light. Maybe the tip of the pen on a micro level will split and you'll have this bifurcated line and different things happen. And the pen is dry, or the pen tip from a certain angle is giving you this. This is mimicking that kind of stuff about pen angles and pressure and stuff like that. And That's something you have to have a feel for in real life, you know. Believe it or not, art is not unlike sports where there's a complete physical aspect to drawing, because drawing is a physical activity. It's you're using your hands, your muscles, your bones, your eyes, your hand-eye coordination, just like playing tennis, just like shooting a free throw, right? This is a hand-eye coordination thing. And when you feel a real paintbrush drag across the canvas and you feel a real pencil drag across the paper, this is mimicking that. And you'll have an understanding of how to push your hand down. Like there's a little zipper texture I love to do. I'll show you right here. Like that's I'll add that in places like to add. I'll show you like right here. You see it right here, and you learn how to do these things, and it's a feeling in your fingers. It's a feeling in your hand-eye coordination, and you're not going to learn it digitally. You're going to learn that by hand. So I would, because I do, one thing I see with younger artists, we're even working at Marvel and DC, they're doing a great job, but I see they're lacking a lot of that real world drawing experience with pencil and ink, and it looks digital. Not all of them, not most of them, but some of them, real young ones, they've got some nice raw talent, and it's being muted by the digital effects. And all that this should do is enhance, because this right here, that doesn't look like a digital drawing. That's exactly how my inks look. If it's real pencil and paper, that's how they look. I draw exactly, because I don't use all kinds of tools. See, if you open this thing here, there's, textures and all this shit in here. It's horrible, this stuff. Don't ever, I'll show you. Don't ever use this stuff. Do those lines by hand, damn it. Don't be lazy. And because when you do that stuff, it looks like that stuff. It looks like a stamp. It doesn't look real. Let me delete this off the page. Hold on. But watch this. I circle it and then I cut it. I wish there was just a delete button. I hit cut, take it away. That's the power of digital right there, right? That I can just do things faster. Let me check on the content. 6 hours a day, give or take. Art seems to be where I tap out as well. The focus starts to win. I can go forever. I don't have that. Most people do. I can go forever. I can write forever. I can color forever. I can draw forever. I can just do it. I don't know what that is. It's just a brain wiring, I guess. Cassie Super says Mac versus PC is such an old argument. So for creating content, video, photo, and drawing, Mac is better for everything, because Mac lets you not think about computers. It lets you just engage with it, with the art. You understand? You don't have to lift the hood and oh, sorry, click the, let's see. Where is it? Oh, yeah. So for creating content, videos, photos, editing, drawing, Mac's better for everything, because you don't have to mess with it. You can forget there's a computer there and you're connected to your art. I want to do this, I do it. I want to do that, I do it. I want to do it. Like, oh, okay, PC. Now I got like a thing broke down. I got a virus. I got a new graphics card, blah, blah, blah. You're messing around, wasting time on a PC. You'll get the same results eventually, but you got to stop and start compared to a Mac, which just lets you forget it's a computer there and you're just working. When I draw with a pencil and a paper, I don't have to, I got to reboot this sheet of paper. I got to reboot these pens. I got to do this. I just work. I just go. When I lift weights, anything I'm doing where I'm building, I pick up the dumbbells and I go. What if I had digital dumbbells? I had to download a workout program. Oh, my dumbbell's not working. I got to download the new patch. Like, right? That's the difference between the Mac and the PC. The PCs, they're just not reliable. They're not reliable compared to Macs. So, came by to stop and show and support. I need to start some acrylic painting for a commissary. Go do it. Go do it, Cassie. Hit the like and share it out, guys. So many different kinds of iPads. How do I know which one? The iPad Pro. There's only one iPad Pro. I mean, there's different sizes, and I maxed it out. I just got the most expensive, best one with the most memory, the fastest processor, this, that, and the other, because when you're a professional, it's a tax write-off. So you might as well spend the money. But yeah, to me, this isn't about, I'm on a computer. To me, like, this is about the work. So I want the most efficient thing. And I would say, after a quarter century of doing this, I know what I'm talking about like what's efficient, because I'm trained in PCs. Here's a little something you don't know about me. When I was a teenager, late teens, 18, 19, 20-ish, like, no. What year was it? Yeah. It was like 19 or 18 to about a year and a half, from mid 18 to about 20 years old. I worked at Hewlett Packard, and I worked on an assembly line in San Diego, but in just a few months I was a manager. So I was no longer on the assembly line. I was a safety inspector and an ESD inspector. So I was managing that for a assembly line with about 90 people on it, and mostly Filipino lady boomers. They were boomer age Filipino women, and they were assembling all in one printer, scanner, fax machines. And I would go around. So when you're touching computer chips, you ever do that thing where you rub your feet on the floor with socks and you touch someone and you shock them? That's electrostatic discharge, right? You can build up a charge in your body. If you do that to a computer chip, you'll destroy it eventually, right? You'll shock it, and you'll fry the chip. So you have to wear these special straps on your shoes that ground you to the earth. And there's a check-in station to like, hey, are you? And you wear a jacket that cuts down on that shock too. And there's air ionizers. There's all kinds of stuff to stop you from shocking the sensitive parts and destroying them. I was in charge of making sure people were following those guidelines and keeping the records and turning it into the boss and blah, blah, blah. And I was also in charge of safety. So ergonomics, right? So the ergonomics is move the work, not the worker. So someone's using a drill that's connected to a thing and they're putting it down on the circuit board all day. I would make sure the drill was set to the right torque and it was in the right tolerance and in the right area for their reach and their body shape. And we can raise and lower the tables and all that. And why the hell am I telling this story? Oh, because I was trained in PCs and all that, and I had to get proficiencies in how to use a PC. And I didn't own a computer back then. I didn't have any money. I was broke. But it's not like, oh, I've always used a Mac and I don't know what I'm talking about with a PC. I've always used PCs, or I was trained in them and used them. And I've just found you got to mess with them too much, and I don't want to. I just want to get my work done. I want to open my device and then do my work. I don't want to do a patch. I don't want to do an update and all this crap all the time. So I don't know. And then if you look at the new Macs from 2020 to now, they are the best computers out. They made their own computer chips, Apple Silicon. This show's sponsored by Apple today. Just kidding. But it is the most efficient stuff as far as battery, heat, reliability. There's nothing better than the Apple Silicon chips out right now. Their chips were made by Intel for about 20 years. And they switched back to making them because they used to make their own back in like the 80s and 90s, and they switched back to making their own, and they're much more efficient. They're like the best chips out on the market. So I got my wife a laptop back in 2020. She still has it, a MacBook Pro, and just going strong with it. It's outstanding. So, but they're not cheap Macs, but they are vastly superior to PCs. I think a lot of the guys, they like the PCs because they want to play video games. That's the thing. That's the thing that always eventually comes up. You can't play any games on your Mac. Yeah. It's like, well, I don't play games. I'm 46 and I own a business. So don't have time. Sorry. I love video games. I think they're works of art, and I think they're great fun. Don't have time for that, though. Let's see. GT Overfed's got to go. We'll check out the rest later. Thanks for the tips. Great work. Thank you, man. The mob seat. Speaking of taxes, how does that work for subcontractor artists? Do you do the taxes yourself as a subcontractor? I have a world-class accountant. World-class. Best accountant I've ever known. I'm also sleeping with my accountant. My accountant is my wife. She's a professional. She has an accounting degree. So she's very, very good at what she does. And we do good that way. So, and she has years and years of accounting experience and all that. So we get it done correctly. And I'm not going to answer your question on how does that work for subcontractor, this and that, because I don't do the accounting. She does. I don't know. I'll just tell you this, get a good accountant, because when you're self-employed and you live in California where it's like 13-14% tax, you want a good accountant, because you want to follow all the laws and you want to give yourself the best chance to pay the lowest taxes possible, because you see what they do with your tax money. I don't know if you've been watching what Elon Musk has been up to. Turns out they are squandering your taxes to ruin your country. You are paying to destroy your own country. How's that taste? Huh? How's that feel? You infuriated about it? Not great. So we don't want to legally pay any more than we have to. Who would? What kind of lunatic would? Oh, please, can I pay more? What are you, nuts? So I don't like those little fingernail dots I did. That's stupid. See, when something gets so small, you don't need the detail. That's superfluous, which I hate the way that word is pronounced because it's spelled superfluous. Why is it superfluous? I don't know. Superfluous. It's like you mushed that word, you know? I don't know. When I was younger, I thought it was superfluous because that's how it's spelled. Then I got older and found out it was superfluous, and I don't like it. But I do use that word. I hate the word, and then I use it. What is that about? Anyway. Ooh, the magic crystal's glowing. Why is it glowing, everyone? I like this wobbly egg yolk kind of energy coming off the crystal, too. I think that's fun. Let's see. Holding a PC girl. My uncle swears by Mac. I tend to avoid them with the plague, but my Samsung tablet is terrible. Why would you avoid a Mac, though? Have you ever used them? I mean, they're just reliable. It's just, I don't know. It's like, if you want a PC, have one. But I don't know. The Mac stuff, it's just plug and go. I mean, that's what it is. I think, it's probably too much computer for a lot of people. I think if you are just dinking around on the internet, like if computer is not your business, like me, because the comic books, they're made digitally with the coloring and the lettering and all the layout. But if you just use your computer for email and surfing the net, maybe it is best to buy the way cheaper IBM stuff. I totally see that argument. If you could buy like an Acer laptop at Costco for $200, there's no reason to buy a $3,000 MacBook if you're just writing emails and surfing the net. Yeah, I get that. And then just buy an Amazon tablet or a Lenovo tablet or whatever. These things like $90 or $70. Whereas this tablet, this iPad was almost $4,000 with the keyboard. It was $3,000 and something dollars, I believe. But it makes me a lot more money than that because this is my profession. So, again, it makes sense for me. But I totally understand why someone would go with the much more affordable PC stuff if they're not doing what I'm doing or something else like this. I get that. And I would argue, yeah, don't spend the money on it. It's like, what are you even doing? Like, what are you even doing with an iPad like this if you're just writing emails? That doesn't even make sense. So I think that's consistent, though. I don't think I'm contradicting myself. I'm saying for work, for serious computer work, you're going to want the iPad. My brother gets mad too because he's Mr. PC guy, but he's a huge gamer, and that's true. You're not going to play games on a Mac. They don't make that stuff for the Mac. I don't know why. I have no idea what that's about, but it's just all those video games you see being released and all that stuff. Steam's that like online thing where you download a video game to play it, I guess. It's a store. It's an online video game store, and then you buy the game on Steam, which is software and a website. This is my understanding. And then you have the game on your computer, and then you play it. That is not available for the Mac. You cannot do that. And Steam is the biggest like video game thing in the world. That I do know. I think I have what Steam is correctly. It's an online store and like a type of software to then play the games you buy from Steam. So what up, Gabe chat? Come over from Marsden. Oh, my good buddy Matthew Malsden. Yeah, he's a morning streamer too. They've been meaning to have him on since forever, and schedules have not lined up in well over a month. And no show this Friday. I am indisposed this Friday. And if you were wondering where I was last week, I said this at the very top of the show. I got food poisoning Wednesday night. And it was from a cheese stick I ate from 7-Eleven. That's what it was. I'm certain that's what it was. And I was in bed, Wednesday night, went to bed, boiling, roiling stomach. And I was fine by Thursday evening, mostly fine, but it was bad. It was not a good time. Didn't get anything done on Thursday. Got behind on Friday. So I didn't do live streams because we had a difficult tummy time on Wednesday and then all day Thursday. And then I don't know if this can happen to you. I don't have a bad back, thank God. Because I'm 46, and thank God I don't have a bad back at all. A lot of people complain about back problems. I don't have them at all. But laying in bed for like 20 something hours, my back hurts. Just, from laying in bed that long, it freaking hurt. So then Thursday night, I had a hard time sleeping because of how sore it was just from having laid in bed that long. So by the time my stomach felt better, then my back hurt from laying. And totally fine now, thank God. But yeah, I was feeling better by Thursday night and then fine on Friday. I don't know what the hell I ate with that cheese stick. I don't know. I narrowed it down to that like Sherlock Holmes, like a gastronomic Sherlock Holmes, because I went through everything I ate on Wednesday that could have made me sick like that. And my wife and I ate the exact same things, except I went to 7-Eleven, got some gas and a sugar-free Gatorade. And then right as I go to the register, there was a little cooler there, and I saw these cheese sticks. I'm like, I'd like another bite of food before the day's over. And I got a cheese stick. Little cheddar cheese rectangle. That's what did it. That's what I think through the process of elimination. What does Sherlock Holmes say? If we eliminate the impossible, then the only... Oh, man, I don't remember. I've read every Sherlock Holmes, some of my favorite stuff ever. But he has a thing. I'll butcher it. This is my version, not his. He basically says if we eliminate the impossible, then the only thing left is the probable or the solution or something like that. Someone in the chat might know it, but it's a saying he has about he am smart, he am solve mysteries. So I eliminated the everything else and realized the only thing I ate different was a cheddar cheese stick. Like a true gourmand, like a California gourmet that I am. I had a so this is a 2025 cheddar from 7-Eleven. That's how the cheese sommelier said it to me when I was there. I walked in this special refrigerated room where they had all these cheeses, and I picked out the one that smelled and felt best. So, yeah, like a true gourmet, 7-Eleven cheese. Not great. At least it was real cheese. It wasn't that plastic cheese. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Thank you, Mopsy. It's been years since I read those. What movie for Double Impact this week? Mrs. Doubtfire. I think in Espanol that would be Señora de Fuego Dubia. Lady of the Fire Doubtful, right? Señora Fuego Dubia. I believe that would be it. So, yes, that shall be the movie this week. I've never seen it, but Robin Williams is a comedic genius, so I will love to check it out. Jericho brought it up. I hadn't thought about that movie in probably decades and ages, right? And I never saw it when it came out, but Jericho said it wasn't trashy because me, I don't like trashy movies. He said, and I know the general concept is a divorced guy dresses up as a nanny or whatever so he can be close to his kids again because he misses his kids, and I guess his ex-wife or whatever won't let him near the kids or something. So it sounds like we're in for a lot of Three's Company type shenanigans where that's almost getting caught, and it's all comedic. That's such a great formula. I love that. If you don't know Three's Company, it was a late 70s, early 80s television program in America where Jack Tripper lived with two women. And back when this country had some morals and class, men did not live with women they weren't married to. And I don't know if it was illegal or not, but it just wasn't done. And this guy, he lived in this apartment with these two ladies, and he had to pretend he was gay, I think, and all this stuff, and he had to pretend all this other stuff in order to really live with them. There were some shows where that was kind of like the topic. It wasn't a common theme at all. That was not something that was almost in any episodes. But I remember being in one or two, Mr. Roper or Mr. Furley, one of the landlords, oh, this guy's a little funny, a little light in the loafers. But the point was, Jack was a playboy. He was the opposite of gay. He was ultra hetero. And he always had a million girlfriends. And one prank they would write on the show that was always so amusing is he would date two women on the same night by accident and invite them over to his apartment for dinner. So one would be in the kitchen and one would be in the living room. And he's doing everything he can to make sure these two women don't run into each other. And he just comes to the door Okay. And he was a chef. He worked at the Regal Beagle. So he'd be making dinner in the kitchen, then he'd be running out to tell the other one, okay, well, don't go to the kitchen. Dinner's not ready. And it was like, I really like that. So I think Miss Doubtfire is going to have a lot of that kind of humor where you're trying to keep one person out of one room and keep the other person in the other. And then eventually you get caught. You got to come clean. And then like, oh, it's okay because blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think that's what some of the humor will be like. That's what I'm anticipating. So it'll be real interesting to see how they do that. Mr. Roper was a perv, the mob seat says. How have you never seen that movie, Kara? Because I haven't seen most movies. Said this 1 million times. Growing up, we had like 10 VHS cassettes, whatever, of just wholesome movies. That's how I was raised. I'm not kidding when I say that. We were not allowed to watch and partake of worldly things. And I think like people have a hard time like having that register in their head. And I don't blame you because it's so unusual. Most people just listened to Motley Crue and Poison and watched Married with Children. I mean, there's a reason it had high ratings because most people were watching it. And in my family, it was like, no, we don't do that. That's trashy. So a lot of good non-trashy movies I also didn't see because there is when you live that way, there's going to be a bit of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? That we don't see any movies. So then you're going to miss some good ones too. So I haven't seen it because I didn't like Robin Williams. He never did. Robin Williams is one of the greatest comedians of all time, dude. Like, there's not a better improver. That stuff you see him do, that's like that's off the dome. That's wow. Okay. You and Jericho should watch the Ewok movies. I saw those when they came out on TV in the 80s. Horrific, dude. He Who Smelt It dealt it, Sherlock Holmes. Well, that's when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. There's a hierarchy of who ripped one in public. And I don't appreciate this because when you're 6'4", like me, and you're big, if there's a crowd of people and it starts smelling like, you're downwind of the fucking city dump, they look for the fattest person. This is the wisdom of the crowd. Look at the fattest guy. If there's no super fat guy, they'll look at the biggest guy. And then then all the way down to like the dainty little, Chinese grandma. She's the last suspect. This is not how things work. I hate this. I hate this completely. But that's how it goes. That's how the blame game works, So I forgot my energy globules here. Let's erase some of that. Yeah, this crystal gives off a blobby energy. So we gotta add that in. Okay. Anyway, after Robin Williams' death, it was very obvious from watching his movies he was very mentally ill. Yeah, I heard him talking about cocaine, did a lot of it, and he said that in his head of all the endless fire hose of sentences and jokes and connections, because that's how improv works. Is this idea, is connected to this idea, is connected to this idea. He said it was torture and he couldn't turn it off. And he said it was the drugs that fried him. That is third-hand information. Don't know if he ever said that. Someone that knew him, I heard them say that. So make of that what you will. But it would make sense because if you do your research on cocaine, which have you guys done your daily cocaine research? If you haven't, make sure to stay up to date. It will cause psychosis. It will. Drugs are bad, okay? Drugs are very bad. They're not fun. It's not, whatever, you're uptight. No, drugs are bad for you. You're fucking with your brain chemistry. Shouldn't do that. Robin was also a huge supporter of our troops. He did several USO tours. Yeah, he's a great guy. He never stopped being a cokehead. It's pretty obvious. That's why he never liked it. Well, I don't like people doing drugs. But I don't think he outwardly, at least when I was a kid and until his death, promoted doing drugs. Maybe he did in the 70s and 80s and told everyone they should have a snort to start their morning, to jumpstart their morning, which you should not have any ever. But if someone's doing something they shouldn't do, it's not great. But none of us are perfect. I'm not excusing it. The problem I always have with evil, with filth and all that, I always talk about this, like the Deadpool movie and this and that. I don't like the promotion of filth. I don't like filth in private, but I'm not stupid and I'm not perfect either. So as long as you're not out promoting it publicly, I'm not going to judge you harshly on your problems. If you're out there telling everyone to do drugs and all that, then we have a problem. That then to me, you're a piece of shit. But, because it's like I love the Beach Boys and I hate the Beatles. And I'm going to go in a minute here and I'll explain to you why. Okay, this is, I'll just put this up behind me. Here's why I hate the Beatles and love the Beach Boys. Both got into drugs and psychedelic this and nonsense, but only one of them pushed it in an effective way. The Beach Boys songs seem happy, light, uplifting. Some of them get deep and melancholy. But the Beach Boys were America's band, and they never said, fuck America, fuck your father, fuck the establishment, this, that, and the other. They never really pushed that tone, and the Beatles absolutely do. So, yes, the private lives of the Beatles and the Beach Boys are similar. A lot of drug use, divorce, problems. Again, everyone has problems. But when you're doing bad stuff and then you're promoting it as a good alternative, as a superior alternative to the current traditions we have, fuck you forever. And that's why I'll always hate the Beatles and love the Beach Boys, because the Beach Boys, for their personal life problems, didn't promote that in public like that. To defy America, hate your father, take all kinds of drugs, be a piece of shit hippie. That 1967 Summer Love, the Beatles are basically directly responsible for that, And that's, are they master musicians? They're some of the greatest musicians of all time, the Beatles. But I will never give them any respect because they promote that shit. So Robin Williams being a cokehead, if he's not promoting it, then I don't have a problem with him doing it in the same way. Now, what I have for him being a cokehead, I feel sorry for him. But if he's out there telling everyone, start your day with a big old snort, don't do that, then he's a piece of shit. He would be hurt because you're hurting people when you do that. So that's the nuance to me there. I'm going to read the comments and then I'm going to go. We've been going for an hour every day. Every day. It's not every day. It's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday here, Big Man Comics Live, 11 to noon. I want to get to know you. Wednesday night, 7 p.m., we do Double Impact. No show this Friday. I am indisposed. I have a prior engagement that I have to do at 11 that I have to be doing to the time of the show. But we will be back tomorrow, 11 to noon. We'll be Wednesday night, 7 p.m., all time specific. Thursday morning, 11 a.m. And let me read the chat and then we'll go. Constantinius, hello, Gabe. Hello to you. Antonio 707, tried it twice, very bad. Okay, good. You're not doing it anymore. It would be bad if you said tried it twice this morning. Constantinus wasn't one of the members of the Beatles a communist. I don't know anything about that. I never heard that. They weren't a communist enough to be pushing it in public. They're boomers in the 60s and 70s. They believe in a lot of stupid hippie shit. But look at their catalog of music. Fun, fun, fun. Don't worry, baby. Do you want to dance? That's not pushing hate America, be a commie, druggy piece of shit. They don't push that with their successful music. The Beatles do. Okay, so that's a huge difference. The mob sheet. Robin was like Chris Farley, a mentally ill guy who acted crazy for others' enjoyment. The movie studio made millions off them until they died. Very sad, very sad. Guys, I'll make one last point because it's so important. You are controlled by your subconscious, not your conscious. You think it's controlled by your conscious, but your consciousness is reacting to your subconscious. Think of your subconscious like the propeller and the rudders of a ship. They're under the water. You don't see them. All you see is what's above the water, what the ship is doing in the ocean, right? But everything that's controlling where the ship is going is inside the ship and under the water, things you can't see. You cannot talk to your subconscious because it's not conscious. It doesn't do like direct language, conversation, all that. You control your conscience, your subconscious through your actions. You will eventually start to believe on the subconscious level different and better things if you behave in different and better ways. You don't have to like it. You don't have to want to do it. But if you exercise every day, subconsciously your brain will go, oh, this is what's right. This is what we do. And then you'll like it. There is no I'll like it, then I'll do it. There's I'll do it, then I'll like it, or maybe even just tolerate it. So, and I mentioned this because of this Chris Farley and Robin Williams and all these problems they had that led to their early deaths, right? From drugs and suicide and horrible things like that. It's very sad. Not judging, it's very sad. All of us are doing bad things and messing up and screwing up in life, and it's subconscious. You have trauma from your childhood, you have this, you have that, you have some weird habits or bad habits, beliefs, and you're not really aware of them. But you're acting out in the awake adult world and you don't understand the puppet strings beneath the water. So get in touch with that. Really think, sit, pray, like, okay, I have a desire to do this bad, destructive thing. Why? What is it going to give me? Is it covering? Am I soothing? Am I running from my problems? you know, all those maladaptive things where people get addicted to food, they get addicted to sex or drugs or money or whatever. You're not really into the thing you're addicted to. You're running from something. All of us have done this, right? I had a weight problem. I was like 305 pounds a year and a half ago. Thank God I didn't weigh more. Geez. But it was like, oh, when I felt bad, I wanted food. Like, that's a very basic thing. But like they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, you can't solve a problem if you won't admit it exists. There's no shame in having a problem. It doesn't matter if you're imperfect. Everyone's imperfect. It doesn't matter if you're fucked up. A lot of people are fucked up because you can get unfucked up. But if you won't admit it and you won't work on it, then you're stuck. So just analyze yourself. Say, okay, I want to do this. It's not good for me. Why do I want to do that? Okay. And then just logic it backwards and you'll find it. You'll go under the water and you'll see what it is driving the ship. And then you say to yourself, how would a person who doesn't believe this bad thing, I believe a bad thing about myself, so it is driving me to do bad things. How would a person who didn't believe that act? I will act like a person that doesn't believe that. Even if I believe it still, even if I believe a bad thing about myself, I'm going to act like a person that believes the opposite. And if you act like a person that believes the opposite long enough, you will believe the opposite. This is science. It's biblical, but it's also scientific. If you're not religious, it's also scientific. Aristotle and Plato, I don't know who said it because when I looked it up online, it's credited to both. Character is built through habit. Your character, who you are, what you believe about yourself, that controls what you do. What you believe about yourself happens because of what you do. So do the thing. If you're fat and out of shape, just exercise every day. Just go for walks, whatever. Lift light weights. Don't hurt yourself. And eventually your subconscious goes, oh, I'm an exerciser. I'm not a fat slob. You'll start to believe you're not a fat slob, and then you won't be one. And then all of a sudden you lose weight, you're healthy, this, that, and the other. But you have to do the action, and then the belief comes afterwards. Okay. Let's see. Back to the Future, but with Christopher Walken as a doctor and Joe Pesci as Marty. Never! Constantinus said that. Never. I wouldn't. I never wanted. Oh, I could do a Joe Pesci. How do you do it? How do you do it? It's a real squeeze. How do you do that? I did it by accident perfectly the first time I tried it. I'd have to sit there for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes to figure it out. But no Joe Pesci in that. No. It'll be Black to the Future. What are you doing? With Will Smith as the doc. Jaden Smith is Marty. Guys, I have to go. All right, bigmancomics.com. Follow me on X, Big Man Comics, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Gabe LT. You see how to spell it right there at the bottom of the screen. Bottom of the screen. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye-bye.